Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Football Roundup Podcast, where we talk all things football. My name's Owen. I'm here with James. James, how you doing, mate?
I'm all good. I'm back. I'm glad to be back.
Glad to be back, of course. Nice to have you back, mate. Obviously, Lucas, thank you for standing in. Lucas will be in this video, but yep, you're back, and we are here to do our Gameweek 2 Championship predictions. Obviously, if you haven't watched our Gameweek 1, this is now your time to go and pause and watch Gameweek 1.
Yep.
But by all account, a good game week for you.
Yep.
Not so much for me and Lucas. But yeah, anyway, we're going to hear from Lucas in a second about his predictions. But just on the table, and obviously one more big elephant in the room is we're not in our usual recording setup. We're away on holiday. We're in France. Obviously, we got the kits in, repping the shirts. But now, as of next week, we're back in our normal location, normal filming location. James is back, so all is back to normal. And obviously, you don't see the spreadsheet right now of our scores and predictions. I will update it, and then for the following week, Game Week 3, we'll have Game Week 2 and 3's predictions and 1 all in one thing with an updated league table. Just on the league table. Honourable mentions for James getting a bonus point for Will Lancash's prediction. That's a great prediction, by the way.
Yeah, I've shouted that.
A brace, and he got a brace. But as it stands, James is top on 13. I am second on 6. And Lucas is third on 4th place. Now, like I said, we're going to hear from Lucas on predictions. But again, I hope you guys enjoy this episode.
All the build-up all summer. And just like that, Game Week 1 is over in the Championship. So we're going to quickly give my thoughts on Game Week 1. Starting off with Wolves Blackburn. I think Wolves simply gave Blackburn too much respect and they were made to pay. Wolves definitely have the quality. We've seen that. Took the lead 2-0 up quite quick, but you can't. Every game's a hard game. You can't give Blackburn that respect. Bolton Preston. I'd say it's a shock, but Bolton played very well. Preston didn't really turn up and towards the end. They were having chances and they did get a goal, but Bolton 2, Preston 1. Middlesbrough Lincoln. We all thought Lincoln were going to do it, but then Middlesbrough showed their class, unfortunately. For all the teams that are in the promotion race, Middlesbrough started strong and they look good, but Lincoln maybe aren't as bad as people thought. Portsmouth QPR. QPR look better than a lot of people thought, and I think turning up to Fratton Park first day of the season is hard, but they've scored 3 goals and won the game. Fair play to them. Stoke Swansea, I personally did predict a Swansea win and it did come in. I don't rate Stoke, especially at home. That's meant to be their place that they can win at, but empty seats all round, and for me Stoke just don't look too good. So Swansea winning there. Norwich City, West Brom, quite a surprise. We all thought Norwich and West Brom are going to be similar to the playoffs, but I didn't think Norwich were actually going to lose opening day at home. But West Brom, Jimmy J Morgan with the goal. And Hegebo looking like a strong force, strong contender for top 8 now. Charlton Derby, this is the real shock of the week, I feel. Well, there is another one, but we'll get to that. But this shock, Charlton at home, 2-1 against Derby. I don't even remember if Derby took the lead. Let's have a look there. Schmodix took the lead and they've lost 2-1. So Lincoln, Charlton coming from behind to win 2-1 at home. It's a good start to them for the season. Moving on to Bristol Millwall, I think Bristol were overrated. I've said this before, and my prediction was a Millwall win. I had 1-0, and they've won 2-0, so that's a point for me, but definitely on the right lines. Millwall looking good again. Sheffield United Birmingham, nothing to write home about this game, unfortunately. I did predict a draw, I think most people would have, but goalless one, pretty boring. And then moving on to the Sunday, Watford at home to Southampton. Just a terrible start for Southampton, really. If you look at the game, 2 halves, very different, but not good enough defensively, and, well, not good enough at both ends of the pitch. Showed more in the second half, but when you're 2 goals down already away from home, it's hard. So, 2-1 to Watford, not a good start at all. Burnley, West Ham, see, this game is hard to say. Maybe West Ham aren't as good as people think, and they're going to warm up, or Burnley are simply better than a lot of people think. 2-2 at Burnley's ground. It's a good game. It's a great opening match for the Championship on the Super Sunday. I think West Ham got complacent. They took the 2 goals up and got complacent. Burnley still have quality there and came back into it in the last 10 minutes. And finally, Cardiff Wrexham on the Monday. Wrexham only 1-0 up until the last kick of the game. What a free kick, by the way. And 1-1. So there we go, that's my thoughts on week 1, and we're going to move on to the week 2 predictions.
Right then, guys, so we're now going to get into the main predictions for the Championship game week 2. So the first game is Birmingham versus Bristol City. So James, any sort of starting points on this game? Anything you want to say about the game?
Well, if I had to say anything about the two teams, I would say Birmingham, even though they had a 0-0 draw with Sheffield United on opening day, I think you'd agree they gave a decent account for themselves. Bristol, on the other hand, I don't think really shone at all. I don't know if you would agree with that.
No, yeah, they really underwhelmed me. Yeah, this week is Gameweek, sorry.
So for that reason, I'm probably going to say a 2-1 Birmingham win. I think Bristol will get a goal. I think Tolaj might get his first goal. But I think Birmingham going to be too much, so I've gone 2-1 Birmingham.
Yeah, see, I obviously tipped Bristol City in the predictions video for the season. Obviously, I was very underwhelmed by their performance. I know going down to 10 pretty late on doesn't help your matters, but I know it's home at Birmingham, but I do think Bristol City are going to get the win here. It's going to be Birmingham City 1, Bristol City 2. Right, Lucas, over to you, mate. What do you think about the game?
Starting off with Birmingham at home to Bristol, I have gone for a 1-1 draw. I think Bristol, they're going to need to get some points on the board. They've had 2 losses at home against Walsall and then Millwall. Obviously, Walsall's not in the league, but they're going to need a point. And I think Birmingham at home, they're too strong to beat. We haven't seen much from them because they were away at Sheffield, but I thought they were the better team over Sheffield United in game week 1. So there we go, 1-1.
Okay then, mate, thank you very much. Again, thank you for being here virtually and thank you for getting your predictions in. Right, next game is Lincoln at home to Portsmouth. Now, I'll lead on this one. I think Lincoln were probably one of the more shocks of the first game week. They actually kept a better account of themselves than I actually thought they would have done.
I think a lot of people tipped them to be sort of
straight that down,
destroyed by Middlesbrough. And I think they did well. Obviously, sort of crumbled towards the end, but I think for most of the game they gave an account for themselves where they can sort of finish lower mid-table and survive relegation.
Exactly, yeah. And I think Pompey at home were quite underwhelming against QPR,
Yeah.
although QPR played quite well by all accounts. But I do think Pompey were quite underwhelming. So for me, this is the 1-1 game. Lincoln 1, Pompey 1. What do you think, mate?
So I've actually disagreed with you. I think Lincoln are going to get their first 3 points on the board.
You reckon?
I think it's going to be quite a boring game. I think Lincoln are going to win this one 1-0. They're going to get their first 3 points on the board, but like I said, they're going to be sort of a lower mid-table side for me this season. So, Lucas, what did you think about this game?
Moving on to Lincoln-Portsmouth, I think Portsmouth were battered against QPR for a lot of the game. Lincoln might be a bit better, but I think we're going to start seeing the real level of these teams, and I've backed Portsmouth to get an away win 2-1.
Perfect. Okay, thanks again, Lucas. Right, next game is Millwall versus Norwich. This one's now at the Den. Obviously, Norwich came off the back of playing at Carrow Road last week. Obviously, lost to West Brom. Not an ideal start for their match. Got their manager now. Who's their manager? Philip Clement. What we're talking about is Philip Clement. I knew that. But yeah, not an ideal start for his season. Obviously, won the most points back end of last season. Them and Southampton actually won the most games throughout the back end of the season. But I do feel like this is going to be a tough place to go, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I think Millwall's always a tough place to go. The Den's always tough regardless who you are. I think they make it tough for anyone. I think last year they kind of pride themselves on just grinding out results at the Den. So I think this is a classic example, and I think they'll do this again. So for me, it's Millwall 2, Norwich 1.
So I've actually gone with the same score as you here. I have also gone for Millwall 2, Norwich 1. I think, obviously, they were playing a 10-man Bristol City for some of that game, Millwall, but I think that they were still very good.
Yeah.
From what I saw.
Yeah.
I think everyone expected Norwich to be a lot better than they were. And I think Norwich, they won't play terribly in this game. I think Millwall, as you said, they've been grinding out results at the Den towards the back end of last season. So I think Millwall will win this game 2-1.
Right, Lucas, over to you, mate. What do you think?
Moving on to Millwall-Norwich. I think Millwall are going to be too strong for Norwich here. Norwich haven't won, so they're going to need to try and get some points on the board, but I don't think it'll be here. I've gone for Millwall 2, Norwich 0.
Okay. Thank you again. Another good prediction. Right. Next game is Blackburn at home to Middlesbrough at Ewood Park. Now, I believe Blackburn again are probably one of the more shocking performers.
I'd agree.
Another team, they kept a good account of themselves against Wolves at the Molineux. Obviously, probably one of the harder places to go in the Championship.
Yeah,
now they've
100%.
just been relegated from the Premier League. Obviously, they were a mainstay in the Premier League for a lot of years. And they kept a good account of themselves. And I thought Sam Moores played really well. I mean, I think that game pretty much everyone watched because it was the first game back of the new season. I don't know if you watched it.
I did watch it.
And I was quite impressed by Blackburn. Obviously, it didn't do anything too special, but did enough to hold Wolves. I thought they were going to get the win at one point. Obviously, an unlucky penalty at the end. Obviously, Jimenez scored back on his re-debut. But I believe this game is going to be Blackburn 0, Middlesbrough 3. Obviously, a little bit on Middlesbrough. Lancashire, great again. I thought their performance on the whole was okay. I think they were kind of shocked by Lincoln. I think Lincoln were expecting to turn them over. So I believe, but Middlesbrough are going to get this one done.
So I've agreed with you here. I've gone for a different scoreline. But a bit like you said, Blackburn gave a really good account for themselves on opening day, especially against Wolves, who, other than West Ham, I think people think are the strongest team in the league this season. So, yeah, that was good for them. I've gone for 2-0 Middlesbrough, and I think Will Lancashire is going to get both goals, like I said
Going
last
for a
week.
brace again.
Yeah, I think he's going to get a lot of goals this season. I think from his time at Spurs, at Oxford last season, I think he was really, really good. So I think this is the season going to kick on. Might be a Golden Boot contender. I don't know. Did we do a Championship League?
Golden Boot, we did indeed, and we said Raul Jimenez.
Right, okay. So I wasn't there for that
No,
video,
you
but I
were.
would say Will Lancashire is probably my favourite for
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I've gone 2-0 Middlesbrough. Will Lancashire to get both goals. Blackburn not to score. Lucas, what did you think on this one?
Blackburn at home to Middlesbrough now. There's only one way I see this. We said that for Wolves, Blackburn, but I think Wolves gave them too much respect. Middlesbrough won't. So I've gone for Blackburn 0, Middlesbrough 3.
Okay, amazing. Thanks again, Lucas. Right, next game is Derby at home to Cardiff. Now, this one's been held at Pride Park. Again, Derby, probably a shocking result last weekend out against Charlton Athletic at the Valley. Obviously, the Valley's not an easy place to go, as we said, probably for a lot of grounds in the Championship. There is no easy game like the Premier League. But I do believe that Preston were pretty... not Preston, I'm talking looking at this game. Derby weren't very good in this game. I thought Charlton were okay, but Derby were a lot worse. So for me, I think Cardiff potentially could get a result, obviously coming off the back of a last-minute equaliser against Wrexham. But I do think Derby might nick a win here, and I think it's going to be Derby 2, Cardiff 1.
So I've actually gone for a draw in this game, and I've gone for it being one of the more boring spectacles of the weekend. I've gone for Derby 1, Cardiff 1. I think it's going to be two teams that are just as good as each other, or as bad as each other, as average as each other, I would say. So yeah, I think a 1-1 draw in this case. Lucas, what did you think on this game?
Derby County, Cardiff. Now, you've got to include some more shocks. The Championship's unpredictable. We've seen that already just from week 1 alone. So, Derby losing their first game away from home. Now I'm going to say they're going to lose their first game at home. So I've gone Derby 0, Cardiff 1. Bit of an upset there.
Thank you very much, Lucas. Yeah, again, right, now it's Preston. I tried to do it last time. It's Preston now. This is at home for Preston. I think they were probably one of the worst performers of the game week. I think they weren't very good. Bolton were, pretty good, decent, but I think Preston didn't really show anything. I think every time Preston tried to attack, they tried to lump it up the pitch, almost bypass their midfield, and it didn't work. I mean, being a midfielder in that hecking bottom system must be a long shift because he's getting bypassed over the top, round the sides. So for me, I think I said Preston would be the biggest underachievers. Maybe you could say, well, no one expects them to do well, but I think they're going to be a pretty underachieving team. They could even be in for a relegation shout. But no, I think it's going to be Wolves 3, Preston 0. Watch Preston go and win 2-0 now, but no, Wolves 3, Preston 0.
So it's another one where I actually agreed with you here. I've also gone for Wolves 3-0. I think Wolves, they're going to be wanting to bounce back from obviously a disappointing result on opening day. People have tipped them to go straight back up, which I would probably agree with. So yeah, 3-0. I think Raul Jimenez will definitely get a goal. Like obviously, we said he's definitely going to be in.
Probably going to make a start this game. Came off the bench last time, but probably going to make his first start back.
Yeah, so I've gone for 3-0 away to Preston.
Yeah. Now, Lucas, what are your feelings on the game, mate?
Preston at home to Wolves. Now, this is another shock for me, really. Preston at home, most boring team on the planet. And I think Wolves are going to struggle to break them down. I'm backing a 0-0 draw. Preston 0, Wolves 0.
Okay, and the next game we've got is QPR versus Bolton. And a little bit on QPR, they were very, very good against Portsmouth. Coming off the back of their pre-season, a lot of their fans were actually quite worried going into the new season. Obviously, I'm quite good friends with a QPR fan. He was telling me about how he thinks QPR aren't going to do very well this season. But judging by that opening day performance, I think you'd agree they were very good.
There's a lot of optimism in the fans at the moment, especially after seeing what they've done in the window. I said it before. I know a window doesn't get you results, but what they've done, and judging based off what they saw in the last game, I do feel like there's reason to be optimistic.
Yeah, 100%. And a little bit on Bolton. Obviously, I'd say another one of the big winners in the opening game week. Sure. Obviously, they were at home to Preston, weren't they? They were at home to Preston. All the fans were up for it. Obviously, picked up that 2-1 win against Preston. Obviously, coming up from League One, it can be difficult for teams.
And also Loftus Road again. We say it again. Loftus Road is quite a hard place to go, especially for a newly promoted side. Yeah. So that's your prediction, mate. Let's go.
I've gone for QPR 2, Bolton 1. I think Bolton won't have enough in this game for me. I think if QPR turn up how they did against Portsmouth, they will definitely win this game.
Yeah. Now, I am going to agree with you on this one, but I'm going to go QPR 3, Bolton 1, and Glenn Kamara to score a goal. You heard it here first. Right, Lucas,
Score a goal.
Lucas, enlighten us on your predictions on this game.
QPR Bolton, I have got the home team. They look strong against Portsmouth. QPR 2, Bolton 1, not much to say there. I think it's going to be a pretty even game throughout, but QPR will get the job done.
Perfect. Now, Lucas, I'm actually going to cut back to you, mate, because this is your team after a very underwhelming performance last time out against Watford away. But this is your team, so Lucas, I'm going to let you lead on this one, okay? Let's go.
And then moving on to Southampton at home to Stoke, Saturday 3 o'clock. I'll be there again, of course. Definitely not a good start for us, but when you look at it, you're going to lose games in the season. We dominated the second half. I think Stoke lost at home to Swansea, so we're going to get the job done here. But I think it's going to be a scrappy game, and I think we might just nick it 1-0. So I am going Southampton 1, Stoke 0.
Okay. So as expected, I'd imagine it'll be a Southampton win. I don't know for sure yet, but I believe he's probably gone for a Southampton win. But for me, St Mary's, I think Stoke, I tipped to do quite well. We're very underwhelming against Swansea last week. And I think St Mary's is just too much for any team in this league. The atmosphere is great. I've experienced it a lot of times. Very good, especially when it's bouncing. It's a great place to go and a tough place for any opposition to go. So for me, it's going to be Southampton 4, Stoke 1. I know I said I want to do Stoke to do well, but I think Southampton are going to have too much of a Stoke. Although George Hurst is a great signing for Stoke, by the way. That's a great signing. Got Ipswich promoted almost twice, pretty much, being their number 9. But I do believe it's going to be Southampton 4, Stoke 1. And I believe that Ben Burton Diaz is going to score in this game if he hasn't left the club already.
Right, so I'm going to keep it brief here because there's not too much to talk about in this game, if I'm being honest, apart from obviously that St Mary's atmosphere. We say it again, we'll probably stop saying it now. Every ground in this league is a tough place to go, especially for Stoke coming off the back of a pretty terrible performance against Swansea.
Took the lead.
Yeah, they did take the lead. But I have gone for Southampton 3, Stoke 0. I don't think Stoke will score in this game. I think Southampton, like you said, are going to be too much for Stoke.
Okay, perfect. Right, leads us on now to Swansea versus Sheffield United. I think Swansea were quite good in the first game away at Stoke, and Sheffield United were pretty average against Birmingham. So It's quite a brief game, probably one of the more boring games, pretty evenly matched game. So for me, this is Swansea 2, Sheffield United 1. What do you think, mate?
So I actually agreed with you on the scoreline again here.
Boring.
Well, it's like you said. Actually, no. I'll revoke that statement. Swansea are going to win this game 2-0, and I'll tell you why. Because Swansea in the opening game week were very good against Stoke. I think obviously Stoke weren't very good. We just spoke about that, but Sheffield United were equally as bad against Birmingham. Or they weren't bad. They were very average, I'd say. So I think Swansea are going to win this game 2-0. Lucas, what did you say for this game?
Moving on to Swansea Sheffield United, I think this game could definitely go either way. But judging from going from week 1 alone, Swansea look like the stronger team here. I'm just going to say they're going to edge it 1-0.
Okay, perfect. Now we're going to go on to one of the bigger winners of this game week and one of the biggest sort of unknowns of this game week. West Ham being the unknown, Charlton being the winners. I think Charlton at the Valley did really well against Derby. Obviously, doing what Charlton do best, make it hard for teams, hit them on the break. Nathan Jones, he's an experienced manager. He knows what he's doing in this league. And he got a result against Derby. I think they'll be not up there, but they'll be sort of mid-table to lower survival. But I do think West Ham's a different kettle of fish, if I'm being honest. Made some good signings during the week. I do believe that West Ham are going to have too much, and probably far too much. I know I said that last time out. Joel Peru, great signing, but now I believe it's going to be West Ham 3, Charlton 0. I don't back Charlton to score in this game.
I would agree. Obviously, London Stadium, 60,000 fans.
Yeah, that's mad for the Championship.
It's condescending. I don't think Charlton players would ever really played in front of
most
that
of them
home atmosphere or away atmosphere for them. So I've said, agreed with you. West Ham are going to have far too much firepower, far too much quality for Charlton. I've actually gone for 4-1. I think they'll get a goal in this game. I think it'll probably be 3-0. They'll probably score to make it 3-1, and then later on, West Ham will make it 4-1.
Yeah, perfect. Right, Lucas, over to you, mate. What do you think?
West Ham at home to Charlton. Again, there's only one way I see this going. I think it's going to be a goal fest. I've gone West Ham 3, Charlton 1.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, mate. And now for the last game, the closing game. Oh, no, this actually isn't. Sorry, I lied. Second to last game. I always miss the last game. Yeah. Second to last game, Wrexham versus Watford. Now, Wrexham were leading for most of the game against Cardiff. Obviously, conceded that hammer blow against Cardiff in the last minute. But I thought they were okay. Watford were actually probably one of the biggest winners of this game week. It was a home win against Southampton. But I do believe Wrexham will probably beat them at home. So I'm going to go over narrow, Wrexham 2, Watford 1.
So I've actually agreed with you for a win, but I've changed the score. I've gone for Wrexham 1, Watford 0.
You don't back them to score away.
I don't think Watford will score away.
And we both said they go down.
Yeah, we both said they go down.
Even Lucas did as well.
Looking at game week 1, well, they were better than what we expected them to be. But I think going away to Wrexham, I think Wrexham will be very good. I think they were decent against Cardiff, did well for most of the game. Obviously, had that slip towards the end. But I think Wrexham win this game 1-0. Lucas, what did you have for this game, mate?
Wrexham at home to Watford. Wrexham, they looked okay against Cardiff. I wouldn't say good. They looked okay throughout the game. They got their chance and scored. Kiefer Moore, good goal, by the way. And then Watford, they beat us, but were they that good? No. Their 2 goals were from us giving them the ball. Other than that, they had 2 shots on target in the game, which isn't great. So I've just gone for a simple 1-1 draw here. I can't really pick a winner. If I had to lean towards one, I would say Wrexham at home, but 1-1 for me.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, mate. Right, last game. Now it's the final game of the game week. It's West Brom versus Burnley. Now, this one's actually at the Hawthorns. Both teams, one team was away, one team was home in their last game. West Brom being away at the Carrow Road, and Burnley, were they at Turf Moor? I believe it was Turf Moor, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Yes. Burnley were at Turf Moor last time out. Now, I think it's probably going to be one of my hot takes for this game week. I actually think West Brom are going to beat Burnley 3-1 quite comfortably. I think I saw enough from West Brom in that first game to determine that they're going to be quite good this year. I know it's only one game, but in that game, I believe I saw enough to say, yep, West Brom's going to be really good. Jimmy J. Morgan's going to be a great signing for them. I mean, I watched him a few years ago, and he was very good.
Yeah, he was.
It was at Chelsea, now at West Brom, was at Peterborough as well, and I believe he's going to be a very good player for them. So for me, it's West Brom 3, Burnley 1. Probably quite an unpopular one. Probably unpopular for both of you guys, but I believe it's going to be 3-1.
So I'm going to half agree with you. I don't think Burnley are going to win this game. I think it's going to be a draw.
Okay.
I've gone for 2-2 in this game. I think, as you said, West Brom, they showed a very good account for themselves in the opening day. Obviously going to beat Norwich away from home. I think for me that's shown enough that they'll be able to get a point against Burnley, but I think Burnley will still be strong. I think Zian Fleming, he's
still there.
Still there for now. Obviously he's been linked to the move away the last couple of days as of recording this, but I think he's probably going to be West Brom's main problem in this game if he's still there. So I've gone for 2-2. I think he'll get a couple of goals. I think West Brom will still be strong. I think West Brom fans shouldn't sort of take anything negative out of this game if they do draw. I think a draw sort of counts as a win considering they've just come down from the Premier League.
Perfect. Right, now guys, over to Lucas. Lucas, for your last game, last prediction, what do you think, mate?
And then finally, West Brom Burnley on the Sunday. This is an interesting one because Burnley looked okay at home against West Ham, but West Ham did also score 2 and should have won the game really from there. They bottled it, West Ham. So I'm going to take another little risk here. I've gone risky towards the end of this week. I'm going to go West Brom 2, Burnley 1, because West Brom beat Norwich at home, and I think they could give Burnley a real good game here and maybe nick it 1-1 last minute 2-1 winner. But yeah, there we go. West Brom 2, Burnley 1. And with that, that's the Championship Week 2 predictions done.
Okay, perfect. Again, Lucas, thank you so much for being on. Now, that's kind of it for the predictions. I don't know what you think. Closing thoughts, mate, on predictions?
The closing thoughts are we'll see what happens this game week, and then we'll update you guys on the league table next week.
Yeah, just on that, obviously, I know, as you can see, we're in a bit of a different location. We touched on it in the intro, but the spreadsheet will be back next week. Obviously, we're not our usual setup right now. Cool, if I can get my words out. We're not our usual setup right now. We will be next week. Thank you all for listening and watching on YouTube, Spotify. New stuff on TikTok coming very, very soon. Instagram as well, Twitter, all that good stuff. Drop us a like, drop us a subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Thanks again to Lucas. Any guests want to come on, please do give us a DM, email, whatever you like. And anyway, see you all in the next one.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.